When I was starting out on my journey as a filmmaker, I received this really powerful piece of advice from the director Robert Rodriguez when I was reading his book Rebel Without a Crew. It went to the extent of the first day you officially become a filmmaker is when you say, I am a filmmaker. And as a young self-taught filmmaker who was moving into this medium with an extremely cheap camera and not a lot of experience, but a lot of ambitions and dreams for this, those words and that permission and that ideology was exactly what I needed at the time. And so I learned from that there is a real power to the words that we say, including the way that we describe ourselves and the promises we make to others. And so this week has been about putting a dream out there that I've held on to for 10 years and always been looking at how can I make this better? How can I do this? How can I be a better writer, a better filmmaker? When will be the right time? And actually by making this promise, it is making it happen. But interestingly, I didn't know what I expected to happen from announcing this, what the journey would look like from day one. But it's been amazing. I've received some really heartfelt, powerful messages of people who've known me across, whether that's just recently on my journey or since the beginning. I've received so much support and love and really positive energy, and in turn, I've been exploring then who are the guides and the people and the friends and the supporters that I want to start surrounding around me to try and make this happen. I heard a description that as a filmmaker, you are often falling into a category of either being an architect or an archaeologist where you uncover the world that you wish to portray, or you as an architect design it and make it. And what's really interesting at this moment is this is about me moving from a place of more archaeological storytelling into more architectural. But right now the architecture is around in creating my network and my community and my ecosystem that is going to nourish me and help me push in this journey moving forward. So a lot of it is about looking at, what do I need to inspire me, to grow me, and who do I need around me to do that? And then really delightfully, this first week has involved the celebrations of my little one's birthday, and we decided to go and see all of the family around us. So we went to see grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins, and came together in a way that we hadn't really done before, and it was full of love and laughter and joy and just new exploration and discovery and building those wonderful relationships. And it was so nourishing to be part of that incredible family experience, and also put me into a mindset of really meditating about joy and love and curiosity and adventure together, and really put me into a space where I could meditate over and think about what is it what feelings do I want to portray through film? What do I want to give to people in this feature project that I want to do? And it was so nourishing to be part of that and to grow in that. And what was really interesting about this beautiful family gathering was we ended up going to the areas of the world that I grew up in. And that was such an interesting experience of positioning and understanding how I had grown and developed, but also, and I was kind of surprised by how the areas I knew so well had also changed. And I shouldn't be surprised by that, but you almost hold these places in nostalgia and in memory, and you don't expect them to change, but they do. But then there's also a familiarity and a foundation there that you know and understand. And it was quite interesting to see my journey away from that place and see how the world has continued in that way. And as I looked at these spaces that I was so familiar with, I particularly felt pulled by exploring and seeing the trees and the wild and like the natural spaces within the urban environment around, and it particularly helped that the sun was shining and it was just glorious weather. But I kept feeling mesmerized by looking at these trees and the movement of them and the size of them. Some of them were massive and the shapes were really interesting, the variety, and I really was interested in the fact that I am changing as I develop on my journey. The place is changing, and yet these trees, because of the size of them, some of them will have been around me my whole life and will have been stood there every day, and I walk past them, and they will have grown and developed as well. But kind of, it was interesting to see these trees that I will have known all my life but not necessarily taken note of, and yet they were stood strong, overlooking my life as I grew. And they're beautiful entities that have been there for some of them maybe decades, hundreds of years, and the size of them and the growth of them was spectacular. And with the way the sun was shining over them and the gentle wind was catching them, I kept finding myself pulled to, and I was photographing and videoing a lot of the effect of the light and shadow from the sunlight coming through the leaves of the trees and the movement of that. A term known as a komorebi in Japanese, as the light and shadow sort of dances on the ground. And I felt a real visual allure and attraction and interest in that, and I kept photographing it and filming it, and it felt really calming and inspiring and beautiful and grounding and powerful to watch this dance of these trees that I've known almost my whole life, but I'm looking at in a new way as a new person in that space that I've known all my life in many ways. And what was really gorgeous about that is it reminded me and grounded me back in a moment, the most significant moment in my filmmaking identity, as I really came to understand what film looked like to me. So this story is from when my little girl was first born, and I was just in this space, I still am in many ways, but I was in this space of just of new fatherhood, of new adventures, of beauty and joy, and I was feeling so inspired from a sense of emotion and feelings and energy, and I was really feeling a new drive to create a feature film and to create stories that could really resonate with the world as I wanted to present to her and to gift to others this incredible energy I was feeling. And I was getting really caught up and frustrated trying to explore this in devices that I knew could guide me in screenwriting, such as the 3-act structure, the 5-act structure, reading all these theory books and these concepts, and I was getting quite stuck on how I structured these incredible feelings I was having into these models that I know are powerful models but weren't necessarily working for me. And as I was lying in the garden with my little girl on my stomach and the sun was shining and I was going over these ideas in my head, I started to notice how we'd been out there for half an hour maybe, and she was lying on my stomach and just watching the trees and the movement of the leaves above us and the gentle sunlight coming through, and she had been fixated on this, mesmerized, pulled in on this story that was presenting itself from the very essence of the universe, of nature just playing out a story in front of her. And she had been watching it this whole time, and I felt really inspired and intrigued by the idea that my daughter had no concept of the 3-act structure, the 5-act structure, any of these storytelling devices, but she had been really engaged by just watching this movement of these trees. And that was a moment where I just went, this for me is real life cinema. This is tapping into the very beat of the universe, the very essence of the universe, of connecting deeply with our world through the movement of cinema. And seeing that was extremely formative for me as I started to understand, well, this for me is what I want to pursue in film. I want to explore these feelings, these moments, and to ground them in the world, in that beauty of what the lens of the camera can do, of observing our world and being part of it. And I wanted to infuse my filmmaking with this beautiful, very pure, gorgeous essence of the spectacular in the everyday, the beauty of the world that we live in. And I realized at that moment that was the journey I wanted to go on in film for the rest of my life. And my journey as a filmmaker has been nourished and empowered by these incredible moments, unexpected moments in the everyday. Filmmaking for me is about an art of being present and listening and looking and being open to taking on the stories that present themselves in our world, and being curious, being playful with it and enjoying that. And it all started from that moment 10 odd years ago when I decided I am a filmmaker, and I took this journey on, and I started on this journey of storytelling through cinema and film as an artistic device. But really this journey has been my whole life as I look at a cinema that speaks deeply to the soul. And now the interesting thing is, it's not just about saying I am a filmmaker, but has been very much about exploring, but what does it mean to be a filmmaker? And coming at that journey with excitement and curiosity and exploration, and uncovering that. And through uncovering that, the films are forming and emerging from that journey of discovery. So my artwork in this medium is influenced by the world around me and the interactions I have, the people I discover, the moments I see, the way the sunlight shines through trees. And what I am trying to do through this feature film is bring these energies together and present that to others, to hopefully inspire others, but more than anything to just give something authentic, and then to leave that to myself and to you to make what you will of it. This first week I could not have designed or planned this week, but it really has been an incredible first week, and I'm so excited to just be engaging on this journey. As to have announced this and to have made this feature film project is helping to formulate so many visions I have for the art of filmmaking, and it's a really exciting journey to be on.